My name is Josh. I'm with California Coast Credit Union. Thank you for joining us today for our auto buying seminar. Before we get started, just a couple things to mention. If you do have any questions, please feel free to include them in the chat box or the question and answer box, and we will be sure to answer those for you. I also wanted to mention that we have quite a few resources available to you beyond the webinars that we do on a regular basis in regards to financial wellness and financial education. Please feel free to check out our website and keep an eye out in the chat. I'm going to post some links for you to talk about some of those. So you can take a look at them, and they are free, completely free, and you don't have to worry about ever being charged for anything that we offer to you as a member. And then also, this session today is being recorded. So if you do have any information you want to go back and take a look at, don't worry. We will have this posted on our YouTube channel so you can go back and view the video and reabsorb what we talked about today, because it's a lot of info, which I guess is a good segue to a couple people that are here today. We have Tim Feria from our business development team. He's here with us to answer any questions you might have in regards to CalCoast and the products and services that we have to offer. So please feel free to ask any questions that you might have in that regard. And today presenting for us is Kevin Watkins. He's the principal owner of New Cars Inc., a great partner of CalCoast. We've been partnered together for over 30 years now, I believe. And Kevin's a great guy. He helped me to find my truck a while back, and he knows what he's doing. So we're lucky to have him here today to talk to us about auto buying. It's a crazy market out there. Kevin, help us out. Take it away.
Wow, that crazy is kind of an understatement. But anyway, today we're going to do 360 of auto buying, which is really first time auto buying. I'm going to spend about 25 to 30 minutes going through a presentation. If you do have questions, as Josh said, please click on and ask the questions. Josh will interrupt me at any point in time, and we can present the questions and deal with them as we go, or you can wait till the end. It's your choice. So New Cars Inc. was started in 1986. Actually, this Friday will be the beginning of our 36th year in business. And I just love cars. I'm just a car guy through and through. My father was a Ford dealer. I was raised playing with cars, and I just always wanted to be in the automobile business. And because to me, it's fun delivering cars. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I have a delivery this afternoon at 1:30 at some folks' house in Lakeside, and I'm going to be delivering them their new Honda CR-V. So let's dive in and answer any questions and kind of tell you what's going on in the world today. So I'm going to do kind of a 40,000 foot review of car buying, and then I'll dive into a few different subjects. And again, you can ask questions, but basically it's, how to be prepared to do your homework. We find that more and more people today are doing substantial amounts of research on vehicles before they're going out and buying them. They're not allowing their emotions to get involved as much. They're doing more calculations on what is a good buy on a car, what type of a car to buy, because there's so many different choices out there. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the financing process to understand what makes sense. Should I lease a car? Should I buy a car cash? Should I finance a car? And then at the end, I'm going to lightly touch on the auto buying service and how our program works, because it is a member benefit service. First of all, determine what you can afford. Let's talk about net income minus expenses, disposable income. Most people have an idea of what their gross income is, less what they can already have committed for expenses, and then they have disposable income. So there's calculators out there. There's a calculator on CalCoast website that will help you determine monthly payments based on putting in the down payment that you're looking for, the term, the trade-in value, if you have a trade-in, the tax rate, the interest rate, and you can come up with an idea of monthly payment and price based on what you can afford. So it makes sense to do this calculation and do a little homework before you go out to the dealer, so that you're making a logical decision based on the budgets that you can afford, not getting there and getting put under the ether by test driving a car and going, oh, I really like this car, and they tell you it's $900 a month, and then the next morning you wake up and you have buyer's remorse and go, what did I do? I'm not happy. So do your homework before you go out there. let the research begin. Make a list. I believe in, taking the time to figure out logically and from a knowledge-based standpoint of what you're looking for. So figure out what's important to you. Do you need a two-door, a four-door? Do you need a four-wheel drive? Do you want an all-wheel drive? Do you know the difference? What's the miles per gallon? Do some side-by-side comparisons. There's an awful lot of vehicles out there that are similar. The Hyundai line and the Kia line both have vehicles that cross over back and forth, and which one is a better purchase. Now, do some homework, get an idea, go out and test drive some cars. Know what's a reasonable selling price in relation to the vehicle's value. I know that's hard to do today when there's a shortage of vehicles and a shortage of chips and no vehicles sitting on the lot. And it's really a seller's market right now, not a buyer's market. So unfortunately, because of the manufacturers producing a lower number of cars, there's a supply and demand impact, and it's affecting the price on both new and pre-owned cars. I'll get into that in a little bit. Do some research, especially if you're looking at a pre-owned car. Look at the Carfax. There's actually 3 reports out there that you should look at. First one is a Carfax. Second one is an auto check. Third one is the national background check on a vehicle. It's called an Inventus. That will tell you if the vehicle's had a rollback on the odometer at all. Don't just go to Craigslist and pick out a car and go, this is a perfect car, I'm going to go buy it. Do some homework so you have an idea on the car you're looking at. Is it a reputable car? And truth be known, the seller may not know anything about the car. They may have bought the car online from someone else. The car came in. They haven't done any research on the car. So it's not that they're being dishonest, but they don't have the information that you should have before you make a decision to buy a car. Of course, test drive the car. Make sure the car fits you. Make sure you like it. Make sure there's no big blind spots. Some of the cars out there today have some really big C-pillar blind spots, and it's really difficult to drive those cars. So make sure you've gotten in the car and make sure that the seat fits you, the steering wheel, the ergonomics works for you, you like the radio system, everything's comfortable in the car, and take it for a little test drive. Drive it for 5 or 10 miles to make sure you like it. Also, there's a lot of different reference websites that you can look at. Of course, our website, near and dear to my heart. Cal Coast Credit Union has a relationship with TrueCar. TrueCar is a great resource for you to look at what people are paying for cars in the vicinity of San Diego. The government EPA Green Vehicle website can tell you if there are any tax advantages to looking at either an electric car or a hybrid car. And then kbb.com is a pretty good site for looking at valuation on vehicles, but anymore, it's getting a little blurry because KBB is now owned by the Cox family, which also owns Manheim Auto Auction and Auto Trader. So I think we're getting a little bit of bleed over on information. They used to be a standalone company. Now they're getting input from others, including auction houses, on how to price cars. So you know what that does? It makes it go up. So other items to consider and think about when you're in the process. Do you have a down payment? Typically, lenders like to see a little bit of money down, especially today with the valuation on vehicles being so high. They like to see 10 to 15% down. But if your credit's strong enough, you can buy a newer pre-owned car with no money down. Are you going to sell your current vehicle? Are you going to trade it in? Are you going to run it up to CarMax and get a valuation from them? I think that's a good idea. At least you'll get an independent valuation of what your car is worth. That way you're not going to be in a position that when you go to a dealer, if you're getting a valuation from the new car dealer on your car, and that dealer's trying to steal it, you can say, hey, wait a minute, CarMax has already offered me $15,000 for this car. If you don't want to be better than that, then I can always take the car to CarMax and sell it to them. Registration costs, you can go to the DMV fee calculator and find out what your license fees are going to be. Check with your insurance. I always tell people, especially on buying a first-time car, it is quite a bit more money to insure a vehicle that's a four-wheel drive versus a two-wheel drive. If you're not going to Mammoth or Big Bear or out to the desert four-wheeling all the time, I suggest people look at buying a two-wheel drive car. Number one, it's less in insurance. Number two, it costs less money to run the vehicle for miles per gallon. Number three, there's less moving parts and you have less maintenance on the car. But some people still just want a four-wheel drive and never use it. Kind of like me, I have a four-wheel drive truck. I think I've used it once. Why? Just in case my wife wants to go to Mammoth, of course. So get your insurance quote, warranty, figure out what's covered by the warranty. Every warranty out there is a little bit different. Kia has a 10-year warranty on their new cars, but that does not transfer to a pre-owned car with Kia. The Kia warranty is $660 on pre-owned, but if you buy that car brand new, it's 10-year, 100,000 miles. So every warranty is a little bit different with their nuances. So make sure you study that, get an idea before you go out there, which warranty works for you. And then of course, the credit union has something called the MRC, which is an extended warranty, which I highly recommend. Car prices are continuing to go up, and so are repairs. So is the amount of money that dealers are charging per hour to have your vehicle worked on. It's approaching $150 an hour right now. So it doesn't take very long for a very big repair to be astronomical to where we're seeing $3,000 to $5,000 in repairs, and you can buy an MRC from your credit union for quite a bit less than that amount. Loan protection products, as I just said, we were talking about the extended warranty, but CalCoast also has a full menu of products: loss of life, disability, involuntary unemployment, family leave, and the gap protection. The gap protection covers you, if you're not familiar with that, if you buy a new vehicle and for some reason you're in an accident and the vehicle's totaled, but your insurance company is offering you $20,000 for your vehicle and you still owe $25,000 on it, that $5,000 is called the gap. And it has a very affordable protection by the credit union to cover that difference. So I always highly suggest that if you're going to finance a car and not put $10,000 or $15,000 down, you buy the gap protection. If you're putting that much down, you probably never need gap. But again, it's pretty affordable at the credit union. Finish your homework. Determine how much car you can afford. Is your monthly payment budget $500 a month? Is it $1,000 a month? Believe it or not, we see people in here that say, I've got a $3,500 a month budget for a car, and they're looking for a $150,000 to $180,000 car. We can help those folks. We can also help you if you want to buy a vehicle and you want a $250 a month payment and you're looking for a pre-owned Camry. So we can help you at either end of the spectrum, but have an idea before you go out and go shopping. What is your budget? What do you want to stick to? So come up with your number and then stick to it. Research your vehicles, go out and do some homework on those vehicles. Again, look at TrueCar. TrueCar can give you an idea of what price points those cars are selling for in the market. And then, also wrap into that the cost for the tax and license, which typically I look at between 10 and 12% above and beyond what you're going to pay for the car, which covers the tax rate at wherever your residence, based on your residence is where the tax rate is. So it's a little higher in El Cajon than it is in San Diego. So it just depends on where you live, what the tax rate will be. Once you've got your homework done and you've done your calculation, now you're ready. What's the next step? Financing. Let's talk about financing for a few minutes. Small percentage of people today come in and pay cash for a car, under 20%. Majority of people are financing some part of that purchase. Well, up until today when the Fed just raised interest rates. But right now, CalCoast has not adjusted rates yet, so take advantage of the interest rates that are currently offered. Let's talk a little bit about the process of getting an auto loan. Excuse me. The underwriting process. There's something called the 3 C's: capacity, character, and collateral. I'm briefly going to talk on these. If you have questions, come with questions at the end and we'll talk about them. Capacity, that is, can you afford this debt? If your payment is $500 a month on the vehicle that you're dreaming about or like, are your ratios in line? Is your disposable income enough that you can cover that? You have DTI and PTI, debt to income and payment to income. These are all ratios and calculations that your loan underwriter looks at to see if you truly qualify for this $500 a month payment. Also, the debt on the credit report, is it yours or are you a cosigner? So anytime you cosign for someone else for an auto loan, that gets calculated into your disposable income. So be careful on doing that. I've helped both of my daughters buy cars, and I was the cosigner and the guarantor for them. And now they're out on their own and they've paid off those cars, and I'm happy camper. But I helped them get established. So I know parents, we do that. Character. What's the likelihood of you making these payments based on your history? What's the stability? How long have you been on your job? How long have you been in your residence? What's your credit history look like? So they're going to run a couple of different bureaus on you and take a look at your credit score. Do you have a 650 score? Do you have an 820 score? Those scores basically are Equifax's algorithm for a number that associates with your payment history. How well have you made your payments on time? How well have you been a good person and taken care of the things that you're obligated for, and not let debt become late or making the minimum payment on your credit card? So that they're looking at those items. The third C is collateral. What's the relationship between the loan amount requested and the valuation of the vehicle? Is there equity? That's where they're looking to see down payment. Today, cars are very, very expensive. Used cars have gone up about 40% in the last year, and now they're actually starting to kind of nose over and come back down a little bit, but they're still way overvalued from what they were 24 months ago when this pandemic started. So they're looking for equity in the car, and that equity is determined between the Blue Book value of the car and the amount you're paying for the car. So that's what they're looking at to see, is there equity in the car? Are you putting money down? Is it a safe loan for the credit union? What is the collateral's model year in relation to the loan term requested? I think CalCoast is currently going back to 2016 still on 100% financing. Less than that, they go 80%. So check with your loan officer. It also depends on your credit score. So the higher your credit score, the more lenient the credit union is on working with you on how much money you need down. The lower your credit score is, the more in demand they're going to say, we're going to need $3,000 down for you to purchase this car based on the equity and the collateral in the car. Make sure you're buying the car for you and not someone else. That's called a straw purchase. If you're going to help out your son or daughter purchase a car, disclose that right up front to the loan officer and see what they can do to help you. But do not go out and buy a vehicle to give to someone else to go drive and have them be doing Uber or something like that. That's a straw purchase, and that will get you in trouble pretty quickly. Vehicle loans, loan amount needed. There's different types of loans that you can get. A refinance, you're going to need a 10-day payoff. If you want to refinance, you'll need to do the DMV transfer fee of $15. If you're buying a vehicle from private party, the credit union is going to need a Kelley Blue Book retail and to know the vehicle is free and clear. If you're financing and buying a car from an individual, they need to have the title. Purchase price on the car, the tax, approximately 10% for tax and license. Do you have a trade-in? Is the payoff negative or positive in relation to the amount that you're getting for the vehicle? If you're trading in a Honda CRV to me and I'm giving you $25,000 for it, what is your payoff? Do you owe $30,000 on it? You're negative $5,000. Do you owe $20,000 on it? You positive $5,000. So they're looking at that information also in calculating what your payment is and if they're going to approve you for your loan. Also, lease buyout. Many people are out there leasing vehicles, and some of them allow you to buy out the vehicle. I'm hearing currently, as an example, Tesla is stopping that, and they're saying at the end of the lease, they want the car back. They're not allowing you to buy the vehicle at the end of the lease on brand new Teslas currently. Why is that? They want you to lease another Tesla. They don't want you to buy their used car. They want the car back so they can take it to the auction and get you to reboot up on a new 3-year, 4-year lease with Tesla. So we're seeing some strange things happening out there in the market because of supply and demand. And we're seeing manufacturers and dealers do things that they're kind of unprecedented in the industry, but they're doing it because there's just so few cars out there. So if you did lease a vehicle and you decide you want to buy it and it's a Hyundai Tucson and you call Hyundai and get a payoff and they want $15,000 as the residual value on the car, you're going to need a payoff statement from the leasing company or from the finance company that you can take to CalCoast or scan and email in to lending so that they can approve you for it. Okay, how to get pre-approved. So now you're ready to go to the credit union and get pre-approved. If you haven't already received a pre-approval from the credit union, because they do pre-screens and they do mail-outs quarterly, and you'll get something in the mail or something on the internet that says you're pre-approved for $35,000 or $20,000, then contact the credit union. Many ways to do that. Number one is that quarterly pre-approval that I just discussed. 2, you can call into member service and actually speak to a live person there, and they will take the application from you. You can go online anytime and apply online. You can visit a branch. Now that the branches are back fully open, you can walk into a branch, sit down with a PFR, tell them your situation, bring in your pay stubs, bring in your proof of job, bring in your home or your rental agreement, bring in your SDG&E bill, and qualify for a loan at that point in time based on those previous things that we discussed, which are the 3 C's. There's also a mobile application that you can go to. You can go open up the mobile app with CalCoast and apply right there. Once you get approved, you can ask for what's called Drive Your Deal Check. Drive Your Deal Check is basically a pre-approval certificate that says you're pre-approved up to a certain amount, say it's $40,000. And then when you find the vehicle that you want to buy, all you do is fill that out and hand it to a franchise dealer or to New Cars Inc. We can take that in payment in full for the vehicle, and then you will be sent loan docs to electronically sign based on that pre-approval. What to expect at a dealership. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening at dealerships. Do your research, as I said, before you go. Car buying is a two-part process. Many people get confused on this. There's a sales part and a finance part. So when you go into a dealer and you say, I want to buy a car, they're going to have you go test drive a car. They're going to then sit you down at a table and they're going to talk about the price of the car, the amount of money you want to put down. If you have a trade-in, when do you want to get the car? And you say, boy, it looks good. I appreciate the discount. I'm ready to go. And you think you bought a car. Well, you finished section one, which is the sales process. Now you're going to go into part two, which is the finance part. And at that point in time, you're going to ask for an option contract so that you can go to the credit union and fund the loan. Typically, dealers all want to finance you and not have you finance with the credit union, because if they finance you, they make rate on the reserve. So if they're getting you approved at, let's say, 3% at the bank and they're charging you 5%, they make that 2% spread. Plus, then they can sell you their gap at a $695 to $895 price, their extended warranty at $29.95. All these things help the dealer make additional profit, and it's probably not good for you. So when you go into the finance part, if you want to purchase something, purchase it. If you want to buy the tracking system, if you want to buy the glass coat, whatever option you like that they're offering, buy it, have them include it, but ask for an option contract so you can go back to the branch or go back home and get online and scan that purchase order in to central lending and have them do the loan docs for you. Or you can come here and we'll take care of everything for you. It's up to you. Things to avoid. Lower payments, longer term, more interest paid. Many times people think that, geez, if I take an 84, 96-month payment stream on a loan for an automobile, it'll get the payment down to what I can afford. The problem is that you're buying a depreciating asset. And before then, let's say 60 to 72 months, the vehicle valuation is dropped so much that you're underwater on what you owe on the vehicle versus what the vehicle is worth. So again, lower payments does not always mean a better purchase, because you're going to end up paying additional dollars in interest and you're going to be paying for a vehicle longer than its actual life. So avoid that. 2, do not ever do a deferred down payment, post-dated check. If you don't have the money in your account to put down 20%, wait, save up a little bit more money for a couple of weeks and go back and then buy your vehicle. It's actually not kosher or legal to write a post-dated check in California, as I understand it. Be aware of leasing options. Many times, if you are, you have that taste for a new BMW and you go in and look at a 3 Series BMW and they start off at $800 a month and you go, I can't afford $800 a month, but I can afford $500 a month. They'll come back and offer you a lease for 3 years. Make sure they've disclosed to you that that's a lease and that you know that you're basically just paying for a test drive over a period of years. Consider all the cost of the dealer products. They have VIN etching, low jack, alarm, paint and fabric, gap, service contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So there's an awful lot that they're going to present to you in a fast-paced basis based on a menu selling approach of all the things they want you to buy. And trust me, they want you to buy them all. So realize that you could spend $4,000 to $5,000 above what you've already agreed to pay for the car, in addition to the tax and license that you're paying. So if you're looking at a $25,000 car with 10% tax and license, that's another $2,500. Now you're at $27,500. If you buy all the products they're offering, you could be out the door at $33,000 to $35,000 for that vehicle that you agreed to pay $25,000 for. So be careful in what you're doing at the dealership when you're in the F&I department and you're looking at all the additional options that they can charge you. Low rate versus rebate. Rebates are only offered through the dealership. We don't see this as much as we used to. We used to see an awful lot of, well, you can get 0% financing or you can get a $2,500 rebate. Mathematically, what makes the most sense is to take the $2,500 rebate and finance at a 2.49 interest rate at your credit union, because on a 60, 72-month term, you're probably not going to pay $2,500 in interest, and you've gotten the $2,500 interest in present value credit off the purchase price of the car. So it makes more sense to not take 0%, finance at the credit union, take the rebate, and run. That's the cheapest way to buy the car and get the best value, pay the least amount in interest. Last least on this page is the no option sales contract. You may request a one pay if the dealer allows. So you don't want to get stuck financing with the dealer at a 5.9 interest rate if you know you're already approved at 2.9 or 2.49. So always ask for an option contract. Do not ask them for a no option contract. No option contract means you're financing with the dealer at whatever their interest rate is. That's not a contract you want to sign. You want the ability to go to the credit union, fund the loan, have the credit union either fund the dealer direct or you walk the check back to the dealer. Of course, if you come to us and get the vehicle from us, we handle it all for you online with CalCoast. New Cars Inc. We've been in business since, as I said, 1986, over 85,000 vehicles sold. I'm going to take a couple minutes and tell you a little bit about our services and what we do. Excuse me. Our goal is to save you time, hassle, and money in the process of any make or model of new or pre-owned car. My only caveat to that is that I cannot get you a brand new Tesla. If you want a new Tesla, you have to go down to Fashion Valley and order the car, wait 6 to 12 months to have the car built and take delivery. That's currently what the time is they're running to get the car. And because they don't have a franchise system or a dealer network, we cannot get involved in that transaction. But pretty much anything else we can help you get. Josh, I think we have some questions, don't we?
I've been looking, no questions so far.
No, really? Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I saw some questions. Well, I can keep going for a few more minutes and tell you a few more things about the business right now, some of the anomalies that are out there. One of the biggest ones is the fact that, there's a supply and demand situation, and we're seeing that vehicles are in very, very short supply. We're seeing that the manufacturers are trickling in vehicles to dealers. I picked up a Honda CR-V hybrid for a customer this morning. I think I said previously that I'm delivering this afternoon. And when I was at the Honda dealer, they had 17 vehicles sitting there. Typically, the dealer has 200 to 250 cars sitting there. So based on that number, you can tell right away, supply and demand, what everyone's looking at on pricing. The pricings that we're seeing today are astronomical, and dealers are packing in lots of additional equipment on the cars. I was at a Hyundai dealer east of me, I won't mention the dealer's name, the other day, and they had really competitive prices on their website. And then I went and looked at a vehicle because I was searching for that vehicle. They had a $5,000 addendum, and the salesman told me that that addendum is products that you have to buy if you want to buy the car. If you don't want to buy the products, then you don't buy their car. So they were just that matter of fact with me. And I said, well, I appreciate that, but I don't have a customer that wants to pay $5,000 for those, door edge guards or wheel well moldings and, a paint sealant. So we're seeing some crazy things out there at this point in time. Vehicles are starting to improve in availability. We're starting to find that some of the prices are starting to drop, but not so much on the used car side. Unfortunately, what's happening on the used car side is the Hertz, Avis, daily rental car companies are having their allocations of new cars cut back so much that it's as high as 70%. So what they're doing is they're buying pre-owned cars to put in their rental car fleet. So when you go to Hertz and you used to think, geez, I'm getting a brand new Ford to drive, you may be getting a 2 or 3 year old car with 30,000 or 40,000 miles on it to drive, because they're not getting enough new cars from the manufacturers to fill the demand they have. So that trickles down, and what happens is it raises the price for all of us on pre-owned cars. Now there's just way more demand, than there is availability on pre-owned cars. And again, supply and demand drives the price of the cars up. So we're seeing that again seems like things are starting to simmer down, slow down a little bit. But then, every day there's something new that comes out in the world that causes, a shortage of fuel or an invasion or something else out there that just makes the world go crazy, and that trickles down and affects the availability and pricing on cars. I've been doing this 36 years. We are still delivering cars to clients every single day. Prices are better than you can get at the retail level going through us. In addition, you get an up to a 0.5% discount on the auto loan rate from CalCoast if you use the service. So, there's still, it's still a value proposition. We still feel good about helping members. We're still social distancing when we deliver cars. We're still being cognizant of what's going on in the world and trying to help members get cars as quickly as possible. But it's a little bit challenging times. So, we're very transparent. We explain that to members right up front, and we do our very best to get them a great price on a car, take their trade in, help them with their questions. We help members every single day that call us and say, hey, I found a car at another dealer. What do you think? We run the numbers for them. We'll run some reports, the Carfax, the Auto Check, the Inventus, just to see if it's a quality car, just to help out the member, because that's our service. I mean, we're the credit union's auto buying service. So our goal is to help and protect your interest in whatever type of vehicle that you're looking for. And we just have a good time doing it. So we enjoy what we do. Anything else, Josh?
Yeah, so a couple questions have come in here. One of them is that dealers often say you cannot purchase Gap once the car is off the lot. Is that true?
I'm sorry, you cannot what?
You cannot purchase Gap insurance once you drive the car off the lot. Is that true?
I've not heard that before. I mean, if you buy a car from us and we are financing the car, you have to buy the Gap before the car leaves. But when we sell and deliver a car, as an example, this afternoon, when I deliver this brand new Honda CRV to a customer, they've taken delivery of the car. They've not finalized the financing with the credit union. That may take 24 hours to 48 hours to complete. And at that point in time, they can purchase Gap. So I would say that as far as I know, you can still buy Gap after you've taken delivery of the car.
And with the current market, is leasing generally a better or worse option than purchasing? Has the calculation changed at all?
Well, with leasing, you have something called a cap cost. That's the initial value that is established by the selling dealer of the vehicle. So let's say, for an example, you're buying a new Honda Accord that has a $30,000 MSRP. And in this market, you can buy the car for $33,000, which is $3,000 over MSRP. The dealer is going to use that same $33,000 as the capitalized cost, plus the bank fee at $895 to set the initial value of the vehicle. So is it better? I don't know. The challenge that we are seeing with leasing today is that more and more of the manufacturers are not allowing you to exercise the purchase option at the end of the term. And the reason is because they can take the car and sell it for more money than the residual at this adjusted market that we're going through right now. So if you bought that $30,000 Honda Accord and bought it today and financed with CalCoast, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. With Honda, you may not be able to do what you think you can do with that car. As an example, let's say your payoff is $15,000 at the end of a 3-year lease, which is the residual value. You take the car to CarMax to sell it. Honda will not accept a check from CarMax to pay off your car. So they have now limited who can pay off the car. They want you to take the car back to a Honda dealer so the Honda dealer can adjust the residual to whatever they think is the market value of the car and see if you want to buy it. So we've heard members telling us that, geez, I paid the car down to $15,000. I went to a dealer and they're potentially trying to charge me more than that to buy the car. Otherwise, they'll keep it, pay it off themselves, resell it at a higher price. So right now, I'm just a little concerned of what's happening out there in the leasing market, and I'm a little unclear on all the things that the dealers are doing with leases. So my personal opinion is currently I would stay away from leasing a vehicle. I would just buy it, finance it, Because, as an example, if you buy a brand new Toyota Tacoma today, drive it for 2 to 3 years, it has the best resale value of any vehicle in the market. It's probably worth between 85 to 95% of what you paid for it after you've driven it 2 or 3 years. So you should be able to take advantage of that equity position because you purchased the car. If you lease the car, I think there's some questions of the viability of you being able to take advantage of that positive equity.
Makes sense. And I had just a question that I had the other day. I saw an article that said that Ford is shipping vehicles out to some of the dealers without the chips in them. How does that work? Did you see that?
Yeah. Ford is, bottom line, running out of space. They're running out of space at the factory to store cars. And normally they would never ship a car out without a part that they've not finished completing the car. The problem is that they lose money to all their shareholders if they don't have room to park cars and they have to stop production. So Ford is now shipping cars out to dealers and telling them that there's a hold on that vehicle. I've had several friends of mine that have ordered Ford Broncos months ago, years ago. The vehicles are sitting at the franchise dealer, but they can't take delivery of them because there's something that they're waiting on from Ford to ship in to plug into the car to make it to where it can be actually delivered to the customer. So Ford is just running out of space. So they're trying something different, waiting on parts to come in. So again, it's just supply chain problems out there, from everything from chips to nuts and bolts to tow packages. Everything is in short supply right now.
I wonder if this continues, for the next year or two with the shortages. I wonder if they'll find a way around it. I wonder if they'll start making cars somehow that don't need these particular chips. They'll find a different chip or, different material they can make it out of or something like that. It'll be curious to see where it all goes.
Cars are so complex today. Cars have, 5 to 8 computers in them. There's so many moving parts on cars. It's becoming ludicrous at how advanced cars are becoming. My wife and I went down a couple of weeks ago to the Tesla store in Fashion Valley and went and just test drove a Tesla because I'd never driven a brand new Tesla, and they basically drive themselves down the road, which is, for me, an old school guy that likes to drive a car, was kind of a eerie experience. And I'm just like, what's the probability of this will make a mistake and I could be in a bad accident? So I turned the system off and drove the car myself. I didn't like having some machine drive the car for me. It's just, it's too far in the future for me.
Yeah, I think there's ups and downs to that, right? So it'd be nice sometimes to just, sit back and maybe take a nap while you're driving to work or something. But otherwise, yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather be behind the wheel myself.
Remind me to stay off the road when you're on the road driving like that.
Hey, if it's driving itself, why not?
Yeah. And the policeman behind you, when you're hanging your head, not looking and not responding to him red lighting you, won't be happy.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
No, it's a crazy time right now in the automobile business, but it's a good time. I mean, the technology out there is making us safer on the road. It's fun to drive a car. I personally went and picked up that CRV this morning because I enjoy driving new cars and finding out, if you don't put your turn signal on, it almost will not let you change lanes. If you put your turn signal on in a new CRV, it has the technology to allow you to lane change with a blind spot monitor. But if you don't put your turn signal on, the steering wheel almost will not let you change lanes. It wants you to stay safe. So I think that technology is helpful in saving lives. I just think some of the pushing the envelope on having someone drive for you. I know Cadillac has this new program. Some of the electronic cars have this new program that I'm not sure it's completely works for me, but it works for some people. They like it.
This has been a lot of great information. I don't believe we have any other questions, but if you do, for those of you joining us, if you do have a question at any point, please feel free to contact us. There's a lot of different ways you can do so. You can call, go to a branch, go to our website. You can go on social media, ask questions there. We're very responsive on social media as well. And of course, Kevin's available. His information is on the screen there. Please take it down. If you are interested, like I said, Kevin helped me find my car and or my truck, and they do a really good job. So thank you again for joining us today. We will be continuing to host our monthly webinars. Next month, we're going to be talking about investing. So be on the lookout for that email to hit your inbox. But until then, just want to thank Kevin and Tim for being here with us. And everyone drive safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.